This is Boomer Life on CIL 650.
Sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the seven seas.
Welcome back to Boomer Life here on CIL 650. I just love Annie Lennox's voice. Sweet dreams are made of this. We're talking, of course, with the sleep solution experts, Dave Temlett and Terry Harder from Innovative Sleep Solutions on the King George Boulevard down there in South Surrey, White Rock. Sweet dreams only happen, or generally only happen, David, because you're in a position where your mind is relaxed, your body is enjoying a good night's sleep, and off you go to dreamland, right? And it doesn't, you don't sleep well, you don't have very pleasant dreams, do you?
Well, I can't speak for everybody out there, but my dreams are pretty good. And I'm going to keep them to myself.
Well, yeah. But you're the guy with the magnetic bed. No wonder you're having sweet dreams. And Terry, you've got a magnetic bed too. And I wanted to follow up because you said you've got an adjustable bed, which is different. Dave, yours is just the basic flat model, right? So,
yeah.
Terry, why did you go with the adjustable bed? What's the benefit that an adjustable frame does for either a magnetic or a latex mattress?
Well, one very important point with an adjustable bed, and I have the benefit of the massage head foot with the zero gravity. And that's one thing that when people come to the show and they try the bed, we always have them put into a zero gravity position. And people ask, well, what's that mean? Well, that's an astronaut's position. That's totally weightless.
Okay.
So if you have a lot of pain at night, or as a suggestion to them, if you're out doing gardening during the day or you went for a long walk and you're noticing some problems with your lower back, you can make yourself totally weightless on the adjustable bed.
Oh.
So you're totally weightless. There's no strain or stress on the lower lumbar or your shoulders or your hips or anything. So you're just kind of laying there more or less feeling suspended on the mattress, which is quite a nice way to raise your feet above your heart as well to get the blood circulating. It's good for our heart. Frankly, it's what I do every night for the last 15 minutes before I drift off to sleep. I put myself in a zero gravity position. I get the massage going. And so we talk to people about that. We talk about their needs, that a lot of people have hiatus hernias or acid reflux.
Sure.
Or other conditions in the adjustable bed, or even sleep apnea. We've noticed improvement for people.
And some people therefore have a requirement that their head be above their body when they sleep in order to sleep well, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, now we even have them at such a good pricing. You can, so for some people, just raising the head up is enough.
Yeah.
We have a Serta base now where it's called a pivot, where the head just comes up.
Interesting. So there's a variation even then.
That's right. So we have three styles. We have the head up, cord remote. We have the head foot up, cord remote, and then we have the full massage head foot with zero gravity in all the different positions as well. So three styles. We can start you as low as $1,099 just for the base. So it's not that expensive to get into an adjustable base, and you should really have a consideration for it. It's quite comfortable, and it's quite a nice relaxing way to unwind after a long day.
I'm sure it is, and of course I just mentioned that it would work equally well, Dave, with either the magnetic therapy mattress that both you and Terry use, or one of the latex mattresses that you offer as well. It's just the frame, and the mattress just sits on it and does what it's told, right?
That's right. You can put just about any mattress on it that doesn't have a border wire. So any pocket coil spring should work on it. Latex, memory foam, and the list goes on. So the bases are quite a nice feature on underneath any mattress, because it's really it's a luxury item now.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the 40s and 50s are buying them. When I started in this industry 30 some odd years ago, historically the only people that would buy them would be senior citizens, but it doesn't have that stigma any longer.
You only bought them when you were really seriously old, and it was like it was time for a hospital bed in your house.
Well, that's
that was how it was viewed 20 years ago, wasn't it?
That's absolutely right. And we get a lot of athletes that'll come into the store that'll buy them. We've had a couple of professional hockey players that have bought from us as well. And yeah, I mean, it's you're putting a little more investment into it to have a base like that. But as Terry mentioned, the medical benefits that you're getting from it, the alleviation of aches and pains by being in the zero gravity is a huge benefit. And the price that Terry mentioned at $10.99 starting price for the base, that's a queen size.
Yeah.
So if you're going for a twin size, it would be even below that.
Wow. And, of course, invest, you used the word investment a few moments ago, and this is a theme that you two have returned to time after time on our radio gatherings. It's all about investing in your rest. And Terry, when you go out to home shows, you did it in Coquitlam and then more recently in Richmond, a lot of times people will come up to you and, well, admit that they perhaps didn't invest sufficient on that last mattress they bought, and they're not altogether happy as a result of it, and they're doing a little complaining in your ear.
That's a big thing, Sterling, and we deal with that a lot in our store and in the home shows where people are not satisfied with the bed they bought, quite often from that huge retailer that that admittedly doesn't have quite as good a selection as they think they have. And it turns out that, frankly, they were pushed into a choice that really was the wrong one. We're trying to guide you into a choice that's the right one, and it is a choice. You either decide to keep sleeping on in that old bed that quite often isn't meeting our needs, and we all know he who hesitates loses. Being Mother's Day, we have in the shows, we have people bringing their mothers where they've had a bed from the big box retailer and they're not satisfied. The bed's too high. It's too firm. Quite often the bed's too firm. Circulation's being cut off to other needs. Well, we really address these things in our questioning part of our presentation. We ask questions around that.
Let me interrupt you right there, because there's the difference. You talked earlier, a few seconds ago, about people complaining about feeling pushed into buying something they weren't particularly keen on, but they got a pretty slick talking salesperson, and before you know it, you got a mattress. And the difference there, the big difference there, is what you just said. We talk to people, and as Davis said umpteen times, we pay attention to people. We listen as well as talk. It's about, of course, you're in business to sell sleep products, but it's selling the right product, matching the right product to the right customer's needs. And the only way you find out about that, Dave, is to look the customer in the eye and say, so, how can we help you? What are your sleep issues? What can we do for you? And you're not being pushy at all.
No, we have to uncover the needs to make a proper recommendation, and that's what it is. It's a recommendation. We don't participate in factory spiffing programs, which are additional bonuses that are paid to the salesperson for leading the customer into a particular bed.
Right.
We take that.
So that
spiff
bed that the customer is being led towards or pushed into, to use Terry's
by the salesperson.
Now that bed is going to benefit the salesperson's bank account perhaps a lot more than it's going to benefit the customer's sleep needs.
Yeah, absolutely. And because most of the people in the mattress industry work on a commission base, so they're getting a commission for whatever the customer is deciding, which is fine. I worked on that, and that's fine.
Well, you both did.
Well, we
it's
did.
How you cut your teeth in the business.
But
right?
now we are owners. We don't have any commission salespeople. It's our duty to invest with the customer as well.
Right.
So we put a lot of time into that, making a recommendation, and getting back to the spiffing from the factories for a moment there, we actually have the pricing that they offer to us taken out of the cost of the product, because in the end the customer is going to pay for that in addition, and then the retailer has a markup on that. So if they're giving the salesperson an extra $100, that mattress cost to the retailer goes up $100. Then they've got to make a profit on that $100 cost that they're paying to the salesperson. So all in all, it just makes more sense for us to stay away from that program, and we take the lower cost so we can pass that on to the customer. And quite frankly, Sterling, we get a lot of referrals from people that have bought from us for that very reason, by putting them into the right bed for their needs.
Right, and Terry, sometimes it takes a while. As I said, mentioned earlier, a couple of my teammates were down at Innovative Sleep Solutions a few days ago looking around, because I know you've sold a few sleep products, well, to me and a few of my teammates here at the radio station. Good deals, great quality stuff, so no surprise that others, people that I work with, should be in the store poking around as well. But they said that they saw, for example, you had to excuse yourself for a few minutes and deal with a customer who was there with her mom, a Boomer customer with her mom, who had also purchased a bed that wasn't appropriate. It didn't work. So what have you got? And when they say that, when you hear that, and you heard it at the home show too, but when they come to the store, they put themselves out of their way, and they come into the store. They say, "Look, we bought a mattress or a bed recently, and thought we'd we'd ended all of those issues. Well, it turns out we must have bought the wrong one because it's just not working for us." You hear that frequently, don't you?
Absolutely. I hear it too much, and although I obviously would like to hear it even more, because those are people that are in need of a better sleep, and they're fairly easy, because all you really have to do is ask them, well, how's that bed not meeting your needs?
Right.
They'll tell me,
wrong?
and then
Yeah.
you address what you have. And I mean, for people out in the listening audience to understand is that part of the reason why those people are the urgency of it, don't be fooled by the urgency, is that because that huge retailer has stores everywhere, every store has a different price.
On the same bed.
On the same bed. So consequently, that salesman's very afraid that that person's going to leave and go just up the street to another of their stores, and then they're going to go in there, and they're going to drop their price a little lower to get the sale. And then so that's a big thing, is that don't base your decision or your choice on urgency. Base it on shopping around and checking a few different places.
Yeah, or urgency, Terry, or necessarily the lowest price. I mean, Dave, we're all price conscious. It's we live in the most expensive city in Canada.
Yes.
And certainly one of the most expensive cities in the world. We have to be price conscious living in Metro Vancouver. There's no simply you can't survive if you're not paying attention to the numbers. But that said, sometimes the lowest number isn't always the smartest number for you, particularly when you're talking about investing in your sleep.
Well, that's so true, and so many of us make that mistake by trying to go for something fairly cheap. And one thing that Terry and I have talked about, if you take $100, for example, for every $100 you're putting into a mattress on average, that mattress will probably give you about a year back on your investment. So a $500 mattress is probably going to last you about 5 years.
Okay.
Now, I'm not suggesting by any measure that if you're spending $4,000, that mattress is going to last you 40 years, because that's unlikely. I'm talking about in the entry level up to around $1,000 to $1,200 range.
Okay.
So, if you have the luxury of putting a little more money into your mattress, you're going to get a better return on your investment. It's going to stand up better. It's going to give you better support and more longevity.
A couple of years ago on Mother's Day, my brother and I decided we were going to surprise our mom with a new bed. So we approached her and said, can we take you to the store? And this is back in Ontario, guys. Otherwise, I would have been to your store. But she was so overwhelmed that we were thinking about her to that degree that well, first of all, she broke down. She was quite touched by it. And then secondly, she couldn't think of a place that she could go to buy the kind of product that she had in mind. She lives in a smaller town near Toronto and would have had to gone to the big city to find a product that would work for her. But she was terribly excited about the fact that her boys were interested and, well, frankly, generous enough to want to go, hey, Mom, let's get you a new bed. And tomorrow's Mother's Day, guys. And I'm not my brother and I aren't the only two boomer kids around town who have this has crossed their mind. Mom, when was the last time Mom got a new bed? She probably they bought that bed in 1974, for crying out loud. And of course, some moms are long-suffering people, God bless them. But a new bed is just quite a present. It really is.
Well, and on that note, Sterling, I had a customer in the store last weekend while Terry was at the home show that did that very thing. The son actually brought his father in, and I guess the son and his wife were recommending that the dad spend some money and get himself a nice bed.
Yeah.
And of course, the dad grew up in the war, and he didn't want to spend money. He's been scrimping and saving his whole life. And then what really impressed me was that the fellow's son said, "Dad, you've worked your entire life supporting us. This is your turn. You need to get something. Don't worry about how much it's going to cost. you've got the money. Just go ahead and get yourself a really good bed. And, that was pretty impressive for the son to be saying that, to care that much about his dad, to make sure that he got the best bed, which will probably be the last bed he gets.
Well, sure, and you're right about us boomers and our parents. We're quite spoiled compared to our parents, because you're right. They grew up, most of them born in the 20s, grew up in the 1930s, between the wars and the Great Depression. Most people who were born and survived those eras remember clearly what it's like to have nothing. And so they're terribly frugal people. They make every penny count, and they count their pennies to this. We don't even have pennies anymore, and they're still counting them, for crying out loud. So this is the kind of resistance. But isn't it nice, Dave, when you see the boomer kids step in and go, look, we appreciate the frugal mindset. We know you've probably still got the first buck you ever made.
Yeah.
But it's time to blow a few and take better care of yourself.
Spend our inheritance.
Well, we boomer kids have learned to, I think, in large part, look a little past that. It's about getting a good night's sleep, and that should start tonight.
Right. And it certainly doesn't mean you need to go out and spend, like I said earlier, $4,000 on a mattress. You can get a great mattress in $1,500 range to $2,000 range. It really just depends on what your needs are.
That's right. Well, it's Mother's Day tomorrow, and of course it's springtime, and just around the corner it's summer, and company's coming. We'll talk about cabinet beds, the famous Cabedza, at Innovative Sleep Solutions with our guests Dave Temlett and Terry Harder when we return here on Boomer Life.
Canada's only weekly radio show dedicated to the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CIL 650.